All right, we're ready to begin with Tennessee. A couple of reminders, the locker room is open at the moment, and also reminder that video is not permitted in the interview room. If you need video, you can secure that from the video distribution area down the hall on the left. We'll begin and ask Coach Barnes for some general thoughts on the game, then take your questions for the two student athletes, and then excuse them, and then we'll finish up with Coach. Coach Barnes, would you begin?
Again, congratulations to Ole Miss for the job they've done the last couple of weeks of the season with the transition that happened there. I thought that staff did a terrific job of keeping those guys playing hard and connected and playing good basketball. And at the start of this game, they were relaxed and really making some shots. And we got a little bit slow getting going, but I thought the second half we were able to pick our intensity up a little bit on the defensive end, and we turned it over too much. We've got to take care of the ball better, but overall, a good first time out here in the tournament.
All right, questions for either of the two student athletes? Let's start right on the front row.
Josiah, you hit that shot on the first possession. Is that as good as you felt out on the court this year?
I wouldn't say I feel any different right now. I just know that the urgency that we need to play with on both ends is necessary because it's tournament time. It's the best time of the year. And so I just feel like we're, not only me, but my teammates, we know it's win or go home at this point.
Raise your hand, please. Questions? Let's go to the back on the right.
Hey, Josiah, how big do you think that last, 5 minutes of the first half was? I think they were up by 2, and then you guys closed on a 10-2 run, capped by your 3. Could you feel kind of the momentum shift during that run?
Yeah, I just felt like we're more locked in that the closing minutes of that half than we were for the start of the game, and that's big for us. We talk about winning those 4-minute games, winning, coming into timeouts, being up on the rebounds, being up in points. And so that was a good momentum shift for us going into halftime.
Next question on the front row on the left.
For either player, it's easy to say, hey, just make more shots. But when you guys are doing well offensively and getting in a good rhythm, what's going well? What are you guys doing to do that, and how do you feel like you can recapture it as you go here?
You want to pick a player? Okay.
First of all, I think when we're taking care of the ball, and then at the same time when we're moving all together, playing, I'll call it smart, where we're all connected, we're all on the same page. I think that's when we're at our best. Even if shots are not falling down, I think we have a lot of players that can even attack the rim or shoot a 3-ball. So I think connecting both sides of the court and just playing together and smart, I think that's when we're at our best.
There's another question on the front, on the left.
For Josiah, with some of those turnovers, especially the live ones there in the backcourt that led to some fast break points, were those just communication breakdowns, sloppiness? What did you see?
Yeah, just sloppiness and us being undisciplined. And like Coach said, for us to win the next game, we're going to have to be a lot more disciplined, get a lot smarter in the next 24 hours.
The next question on the center front row.
Josiah, holding Ole Miss to only 22 points in the second half, just what went into the defensive efforts in the second 20?
Like I said, I feel like we're at a point in the season where it's win or go home. We know that, and the sense of urgency that we came out with defensively after halftime was big. We know we let them get too comfortable early on in the game, and we just held each other accountable, and I feel like everybody came out and did their job to the best of their abilities.
Go ahead.
What needs to happen for y'all to have that defensive intensity from the start?
I think it starts with us, the older guys. We got to do a better job getting the guys ready and then setting the tone from the first possession and not just waiting and then just trying to get in rhythm as the game goes. And we know every single game is a fight. Every single game for us is a championship game. So we know that every game we're going to have to fight from the start because that can bite you in the worst time.
Question on the right.
Joe, you, Santi, and Olivier combined for 44 points. Obviously, you got to have your veterans play well in March. Is that something you guys have talked about? I mean, is it, was that a priority coming into the tournament?
It's definitely not been something that we talked about, but I think it goes without saying that this team goes how the veterans go. And so we have to be a lot better for 40 minutes. But, I'm just proud of those two guys and how they stepped up and how they've stepped up all year.
Time for one more question for either of the student athletes. All right, we'll take it right on the front row for either one.
Santi, the way that y'all sort of wear people down physically. Is that something that you can you can see when it's happening? I mean, can you sense that some of those shots they're making early, they're not making late, and that y'all are kind of physically starting to wear an opponent down?
I mean, not really. I think that just goes with the flow of the game. We're going to play the best defense that we can. Like I said, we got to pick it up earlier. But other than that, I think it's just a matter of the game.
Right, we'll excuse the student athletes. You can return to the locker room. And we'll continue on with questions for Coach Barnes. So raise your hand and we'll get a floor mic to you. Let's go ahead and start on the front row.
What did you see being the difference in the defense in the first 15 minutes and the next 35?
Ball pressure. You know, they obviously, this time of year, often teams will try to get in a possession game, and, you know, they weren't looking to really push the ball after made baskets. Most of it was, and even sometimes on misses, they did hit us when we turned it over hard. I mean, they had, 19 points off turnovers. And, but I thought the second half, Urosh and Jemai were the ones that brought the aggression. I thought when we started changing a little bit with our ball screen, I thought Urosh did a really good job because we started doubling a little bit more hard help, doing things like that. But and then when we went with a small lineup, we started switching everything. We didn't want them to get those spot up threes, but I think changing the zone helped us early. I thought the zone probably broke a little bit of rhythm. They were in a pretty good rhythm there to start the game, but they've been good. I mean, you go back and look at their games over the last couple of weeks. They've been in every basketball game, but I thought the zone helped us break a little rhythm, and then we came out, I thought, more aggressive, better ball pressure, better ball screen coverage in the second half.
Coach, I asked the guys about the veterans performing well. Just how important is it that your seniors at this time of year show up and deliver?
They have to. I mean, and Joe's right. It's on them to do it. I mean, with all that we've been through this year, they've seen it, and different games games take on different personalities. We've found a way to do it, but we've got to defend, and we did in the second half. I thought we got back to being more physical, getting through passing lanes a little bit. Santi again did a great job with what he does, just trying to disrupt offenses. But our seniors, this time of year, should be their time of year.
Raise your hand. Other questions? All right, let's go to the far left in the middle.
Rick, Joe Goodman, AL.com. Alabama has been a national story this year, on and off the court. At Tennessee, do you guys have a gun policy on your team?
The university has a code of conduct policy, no weapons allowed on campus, but as a team, that is our rule too. No one on the team, you can't. Two things that we have, one of them is that you can never, ever do anything domestically against a female, and you can never carry a firearm as a team rule. But the university also has that policy in place.
Do you have a question on the front row?
With the turnovers, how much of that is just naturally going to happen as y'all adjust to playing without Sakai, and how much of that is fixable?
Well, it's all fixable because some of the ones we had were somewhat ridiculous, to be quite frank, and I'm somewhat baffled by some of them. But it's fixable. But you look at them, and I mean, sometimes you got to give the other team credit for turning you over. But when you're throwing the ball in a passing lane, when you know someone's being denied, those are all fixable if you understand the value of the ball. And Joe used the word disciplined enough to take care of the basketball.
Next question on the front row left.
Yeah, Rick, how confident are you feeling in the offense this time of year? And, I know after the Auburn game you were kind of critical of the defense. I guess the question would be, do you feel like you still have a complete performance out there that you haven't shown yet?
Well, I think we can still get better. I mean, defensively, I want to see us play defense, rebound. From our point, when we go back and grade this game out, I'm sure we've hit a lot of our team goals that we would like to have, obviously. But offensively, I mean, you think about it. I mean, again, 19 points off turnovers. That can't happen. I mean, if we're the defensive team that we want to be and should be, we've got to make people play against it. And you can't give them the ball and give them a chance to get out in transition because there's no defense for that. The best defense we could have right there is take care of the ball. And I think for us moving forward, the best defense we can have is taking care of the ball and not allow people to get out and score 19 points in transition.
Next question on the far left in the back.
Coach, you spoke to your defense. Last time you guys met these Missouri Tigers, they were able to put up 86 with only 24 hours to prepare. What's your mindset going into that game?
Same, we'll do what we do during tournament play. Like, we all start the season out, and, we pretty much go on one-day prep some. The way we do it, we'll got a ball room. We'll do what we always do. We'll watch tape, scout, and the game has been scouted, and we'll get the guys in there and go from there.
Next question, front row on the left.
Rick, from where you were watching there, was it just, lack of sharpness on some of those turnovers, lack of focus, guys zigging when other guys are zagging? What's leading to some of that stuff today?
That's a good term. Some were zigging, some were zagging. That's the best way I could tell you, because we ran a back screen, had a wide open guy, and threw a beach ball kind of pass, and the ones out front, there's no defense for that. Those are careless turnovers. And again, Joe used the term discipline. I think that's the right word. And understand the value of the ball this time of year. I say this time of year, early in the year you would expect some of that, but some of the ones we had tonight you can't have, especially from older players this time of year.
We have time for a couple more questions. Let's go to the second row in the middle.
Rick, back to that Missouri game, I think 73 of their points were from their backcourt in that game. And part of that is that they hit some tough shots, but what has to change specifically on the perimeter, and how difficult is that considering Zakai is out?
They played a great game. There's no doubt. They played well against us, and again, we got back in it. They made a great shot at the end to beat us. A tough shot. They did it, but we'll need everybody. Again, a game like this, they play defense different. They one of the best teams in the country at turning you over, getting steals. So again, it's understanding and taking care of the basketball. It's going to be really important, and not let them get out in transition with turnovers. And then obviously, like you said, their guards get going downhill, and they drive the ball hard. They're going to make you pay if you turn it over. That's what I can tell you. But I think most good teams do that.
All right, last question on front row here in the middle.
Coach, you talked about Euro kind of being partly responsible for that defensive intensity in the second half. How was he able to do that, and just, how important is that to get out of him going forward?
It is. His length, obviously, and he understands, and he's a guy that does a good job with pressure release on offense, but defensively inside, physicality in there, not giving deep post-up position, and rebounding the ball. He made the effort there, but really the fact that he was getting away from the basket, not just laying back, but he exerted himself on some ball screen situations, which I thought was really good because, again, it kept them out of rhythm coming off some of their ball screen actions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.